Well, folks, the Republican Party has won a trifecta. They will enter January 2025 with the House, the Senate, and the presidency. They just won the House. So this is from Yahoo News. More than a week after winning the presidency and the Senate, Republicans have finally completed the so-called trifecta and secured the 218 seats required for control of the U.S. House of Representatives. The AP called the House for the GOP Wednesday night, but just barely. A handful of races remain undecided, and when the dust settles in the days ahead, Republicans could end up with only the slimmest of majorities. Here's what that will mean for Donald Trump's second term. First, Republicans will have at least 52 seats in the Senate. If the hedge fund executive Dave McCormick wins in Pennsylvania, where he currently leads by half a percentage point, they will have 53. I thought they'd already called it for David McCormick, but with that majority, the GOP will be able to confirm all of Trump's judicial nominees, including younger Supreme Court justices who could ensure conservatives' control of the court for decades to come. They'll be able to confirm Trump's cabinet officials as well. So yeah, with those Senate numbers, it's like Trump can get anyone by as long as he doesn't have too many Republican defectors in the Senate. Second, without control of the House, Democrats won't be able to continue investigating the Trump administration the way they did from 2019 to 2023, when they probed Trump's allies' ties to Russian interference in the 2016 election and the scheme to overturn his 2020 loss. They won't be able to impeach him again either. Control of the House will now allow Republicans to chair committees and launch their own investigations. The bigger question is how much legislation Republicans will pass and how far that legislation will go, and that in turn depends on the size of their House majority, the composition of their leadership, and the ambition of Trump himself. So when I think of legislation and I think of Republicans, not that much comes to mind. They tend to not really do all that much, but they did do two pretty massive things during Trump's first term, or I should say his first 2 years where he actually had a trifecta, because remember in January 2019 the Democrats took over the House, but there was the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which was a massive tax cut that disproportionately favored the top 1%, as well as a criminal justice reform bill, actually, the First Step Act, and that's something that a lot of progressives these days will give Trump some credit for. They'll say it was a modest step in the right direction, although not quite good enough. But it's definitely one of the good things in the minds of a lot of progressives that the Republicans and Trump got done. But yeah, Republicans in legislation, let's face it, it tends to be the Democrats who are the legislators. I mean, just look at Joe Biden. Look at Obama with the ACA. Like, it's the Democrats who pass landmark legislation. So let's continue. During the 2024 campaign, Trump focused less on his congressional agenda than on things he could do on his own, imposing huge tariffs on foreign goods, deporting millions of immigrants, rethinking the U.S. commitment to NATO, and allowing Russia to annex parts of Ukraine. He will probably have the power to implement those policies, regardless of whether the House and Senate agree with him. To pass new laws, however, he will have to get to votes in Congress. Yeah, of course, that's we all know that. But yeah, what do you guys think about this Republican trifecta? So the last time we had a Republican trifecta, of course, was Trump's first 2 years in his first term, 2017 to 2019. We had a Democratic trifecta during Biden's first 2 years in office. And we had a Democratic trifecta during Obama's first 2 years in office. So it's really not a shocker that the Republican Party gets a trifecta when their president of their party takes over. We also had a trifecta, if you recall, under Bill Clinton. He had Democrats in the House, Democrats in the Senate. And then in 1994, there was that Republican revolution where Newt Gingrich and his boys took over. You might also be thinking, okay, based on that, the Republicans will have to lose either the House or the Senate in 2026. And I think that's what's most likely. I don't think that Democrats should give up hope. I don't think that Democrats should feel down in the dumps. Yes, it will likely get bleak for Democrats. Project 2025 is another thing that, again, looms large. Issues with healthcare, the Affordable Care Act, and some of the good provisions of that getting gutted in order to deprive people of their health insurance. This is stuff where lives are actually on the line. You know, it's a big deal. It affects millions of people. You know, but how long will it last? My guess is that the Republican trifecta only lasts 2 years. We'll have some senators up for re-election in 2026 and every single House seat up for re-election. And we will see if there is a strong referendum on this second term, this new version of Donald Trump that seems to be out for revenge. But as it stands, Republicans have the trifecta. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm really interested to hear. As always, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. Let me know when you think the Republican trifecta will end and how bad you think it will be. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next video.